May 24, 2025, saw the Youngling Center in Tampa Bay, Florida, host Saturday night's main event with a cavalcade of stars and Logan Paul, that fucking douche nozzle, who thankfully was nowhere near the following event that had the NXT talents make their own Battleground with blackjack and hookers, with championships being defended from beginning to end, and feuds that not that many people apparently cared about, including the talents that were participating in said feuds. But speaking of those championships being defended, well, that main event certainly ended in quite the unexpected way. Why are we whooping tricks, by the way? Sex workers are people too. If you pay them the right price, don't whoop them. Treat them like humans. That's all I gotta say. That's my PSA. I'm John Wortham with my review, WWE NXT Battleground 2025. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I decided to review this after watching AEW Double or Nothing 2025. Mainly because I heard that the women's matches are pretty good. They were. Case closed. Goodbye. No, I'll talk a little bit more. But no, this is not going to get me to watch NXT on the regular, but since people asked me to, I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. The crowd was pretty up for this. Vic and Corey provided commentary while Booker just said whatever. Look, Booker T is rotten on commentary. He's got to stop. I mean, but then again, after hearing some of the AEW commentary, Booker is still really bad, but there's good commentators in wrestling, but God, they got to focus on the good and get rid of the bad. By the way, apologies if I still sound a little bit rough, rib, pain, and such, but don't worry, I'm powering through it. Sol Ruca, along with Zarya, who, boy, don't they just look good. They really do. So, Sol Ruca with Zarya in her corner, defending the NXT North American Women's Championship against Kalani Jordan, who has decided to change her look, do a complete 180. And I gotta say, it works for her. She's got more of an edge to her. We thought we knew her. And it's an interesting choice. We'll see how it pays off in the long term. Both are very athletic. And Kalani was a little more heelish here. I think that could possibly work to her advantage. I do really get nervous seeing the way Sol lands on her feet, given how, she suffered that knee injury. I think it was like a torn ACL, but I mean, bless her. She's really, really goddamn skilled. So, knee focus by Kalani to ground Sol. A super X Factor. You're dealing with the X Factor. Which one's Uncle Cracker, by the way? So, nobody gets that. I doubt anybody gets that. So, there was a backstabber with the feet up. That looked really goddamn painful. Solsuke special, as I'm going to call it. Actually, I think others have called it that. We get a nice shooting star by Kalani. We get some good back and forth here. We get a run counter. We get a nice spear. So they're cooking. They're doing some good stuff here. Back and forth. It looks like Kalani's going to go for the split-legged moonsault. Zarya pulls Sol out of the way in front of the referee, so Zarya gets kicked out. I'd say Zarya does look amazing, by the way. I just have to say that. And then, soon after, they're doing a little back and forth, and then suddenly, Super Soul Snatcher, big pop, 1, 2, 3, and there we are. So, good. Sol Ruca retains. I think they did the Zarya kick out of ringside a little bit too late, but it was what it was. This is obviously going to lead to Zarya and Sol Ruca having a match at some point, even though they're fine. Zaruka is fine. I think that's what you people call them, you shippers, as it were. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm 44. I don't understand this shit. But Mike Santana is there. He works for TNA. And then Charlie Dempsey, Ren Sinclair, who I think she used to be Maddie Renkowski. Watching you, Renkowski. God, I haven't done that in a while. And some other guy. I don't know who the hell he is. So, that other guy, I'm sorry, I don't watch enough NXT to know who the ancillary people are, but this guy says, yeah, I'll face you, Mike Santana. And apparently JC and Fallon were arguing backstage, or right behind these two. So then the calling Spears, Nico Vance, and Brooks Jensen, along with Izzy Dame, took on Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs. Why are Hank and Tank dressed like Discount Public Enemy? Why is the calling a thing, and why is any of this happening? They did stuff at about 60 to 100 miles an hour. There was a botched pin breakup because nobody knows what they're fucking doing. Big lariat by Briggs, a sandwich and a slam, 1, 2, 3. They have a sandwich in the corner, staring up at the lights as you take the pin. Post-match beatdown by the heels, and then some guy, Inumara, I think that was the partner of Josh Briggs. I believe it's Stand Deliver, I think. I think he was from Noah, and he was on excursion, but then he left, but then now he's back. 8-man tag possibly on NXT, who gives a shit? And then Sarah's with Ethan Page. I have to say, Sarah looked absolutely amazing tonight. Sarah Schreiber. Ethan basically calls Ricky insecure. Then Ava shows up, looking as only she can look. The match will kick off on Tuesday, or kick off the Tuesday show, and whichever person walks away with the title will defend it at Worlds Collide, which apparently is the morning of Money in the Bank. I'll try to watch that maybe later. There's so much wrestling to watch, guys. If you guys watch the reviews, I'll try to do what I can. But after this year, I'm running out of fucking wind. So, Tony D'Angelo took on Stax because Stax betrayed Tony D'Angelo, and we are still focusing on this shit. Look, they both did what they could. Stax hurled himself stupidly at the goddamn ring post after focusing on Tony's bad ribs. And then a guy named Luca, not Luca Blight. We don't actually get a good villain in this. That is a deep cut for Suey Coden fans, all one of you that happen to be watching this. And Stax does try to apologize before Luca shows up, and then a low blow, and knee strike, 1, 2, 3. Stax is not very good in the ring. I noticed that. What was good in the ring was Stephanie McClure against Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace, by the way, bless her. Her ceiling, I think, has been reached. I think she's good. I don't know if she's necessarily great. I mean, she did good in Impact, but, you know, as long as you're ambulatory and don't run into the ropes stupidly like Tessa Chen Blanchard, you'll be fine. My word, Stephanie, that is as close to perfect of a woman as you will get. My goodness, with respect. If the rumors are that her and Miles Bourne are dating, good on him. Good on her. They both deserve happiness. My God, you land a woman like that. Good Lord. With respect. Anyway, 2 women from AAA were talking to Ava earlier. I didn't catch their names. I hope one of them isn't the dumb broad that decided to, harass Stephanie, so she had to get a restraining order, because that woman deserves to be blacklisted from wrestling. So, both of these women can work. Grace and Vaquer. Or Vaquer, however you say it. The thing is, at one point there's like a catch out of the rolling, like the attempt to do the knees, the devil's kiss, the knee thing where, God, I wish I was on the receiving end of that. I'm fine. They roll the outside. Grace has her up in an electric chair, manages to slam her on the announcer's table, kind of, taunts Booker. And then focuses on Stephanie's back. And that's good. Good targeting. Grace is more the de facto heel here. Vaquer fires back. Knees in the corner. The devil's kiss, which, God, again, I wish that was me. I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that. And then a package bomb for 2. And then we get Weird Odd DDT for 2 by Stephanie. And a superplex into a jackhammer by Jordan Grace. She protected her opponent. You know who wouldn't have done that if they'd done a superplex into a jackhammer? Bill Goldberg. That's Bret Hart, presumably. So, nice counters. Grace does get some good near falls here. And it looked like Grace might actually just eke it out, but no. She does kick out of the SVB, the Stephanie Vaquer bomb, I assume, is what it's called. But then she hits, they call it the spiral tap. I think it's more the sky twister. I think. You guys can let me know. I mean, spiral tap is more when you hit your opponent with the thing, like how AJ used to bounce off. He used to do the spiral tap. But it's impressive. Boy, does Stephanie look impressive when she hits it. 1, 2, 3. There you are. Ricky Saints is in for a live interview. Eventually tells Sarah, don't worry, I'll handle it. So Sarah just, my God, Sarah looked great. Kind of harasses Ethan a little bit. Ethan shows up. We get a brief brawl. Ricky dives on him and the security, so there we are. And then Obafemi against Miles Bourne, who apparently is partially deaf. And having not really seen a lot of Miles Bourne, I've seen a little, but like small sample size for the NXT Men's Championship. They got something with Oba. This is a can't-miss prospect. Unless he fucks it up or unless major injuries take him out, there's no way that he can fail. Creative cannot fail this guy. There's Oba chance, like, Bill Goldberg. Oba toyed around with him. Miles did get hit some good shots in. Got a nice dive. Got some near falls. Did hit a moonsault, but then got caught. And a chokeslam for 2. Did counter 1 point, get the Rana for 2. And then he eventually did catch Oba and got a German suplex. That was nice. And then we got a hammer fist by Oba. The power bomb for 2. And then we got a roll-up by Miles. So it was starting to go a little long. But they managed to finish it properly. Lariat, toss, and then 2 power bombs. 1, 2, 3. Give me Oba versus Gunther by WrestleMania 43. That's all I got to say. So, the women are fighting backstage again. I guess Stephanie's just upset at people. I don't know. I don't blame her necessarily. Say his name and he appears. Here's the TNA champ, Joe Hendry. There, that's all I got to say. Carlos Silva is the TNA president, and he's there. Whatever. I remember when TNA actually used to have, like, a good presence. I mean, they have a better presence than they did, like, in the last number of years when Dixie owned it, but still. So is Joe Hendry defending the TNA Championship against Trick Williams. We are whooping Tricks because apparently that is legal in this country now. Joe is fired up. He does launch himself onto Trick outside. A good pace, at least to start. There was a nice rock bottom for 2. And then Joe gets sent into the steps outside. He's selling. And then fall away slam. He does the pose and stuff like that. And then we get a standing ovation. That's the standing his finish. And Trick gets his foot on the rope. Rock bottom through the announcer's table by Trick. And then Trick brings in the title soon after hitting the trick shot. Because he's like, shit, I can't beat him. So brings in the title's going to do this, and then suddenly puts it down. The referee, by the way, knows that the title's there, but doesn't do anything. Ow, my eye, I'm not supposed to get whooping that Trick in it. And then hits a flapjack on the championship, and the referee just lets it go, because the referee apparently is an idiot, and it's kryptonite, he can't move it. And then Trick shot 1, 2, 3. So, okay. Like, Trick's the new TNA champion. They're going to buy TNA by the end of the year, aren't they? I bet you they are. I bet you they buy them by the time WrestleMania 42 rolls around. Or, yeah, 42. They'll buy it by next WrestleMania. I lose track of what some of the WrestleManias are. I mean, it's just, whatever. It's fine. So much wrestling. So much wrestling. It is what it is. So I will review what I want to review as time goes on, but if I don't review some big events, I apologize. That being said, the women's matches are pretty good. Oba and Miles was what it was, and Trick winning the TNA title was certainly surprising. Maybe he'll drop it down, I don't know, Frankie Kazarian or Mike Santana or something. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.